Hey everyone, myself Rohan, and today I wish you a happy new year. And with that being said, let's jump right into the main point of our concern today, which is the VS Code extension anatomy. So, what is an extension anatomy? It's the basic structure of any extension which you should understand in order to build the extension. And the main reason why you should know this because you cannot understand each and every line of code. Like, you should understand each and every, but you cannot learn each and every line of code. But you should know what the potentials and the capabilities of an extensions are, so as to find the right code in order to build the product which you want. So we have three main point in the anatomy of VS Code extension, which are: first is activation events, second is the contribution point, and third is the VS Code extension APIs. First is the activation events. What are these? Basically, activation events are the events upon which your VS Code extension becomes activated. It's like quite on the point, which you might expected, but it is what it is. So if we go to the main website of VS Code and go to the extension anatomy, we'll be having three main points. And as you can see, understanding these three concepts is crucial for writing any extension on VS Code. So let's go to the activation points. So these are the activation points on which your VS Code becomes active. Whenever you write your VS Code extension, for example, we have this code and I started debugging it, you will be given this extension VS Code GraphQL will be deactivated, and previously it was extension activated. Why? Because whenever this function runs, the our extension gets activated. So we can reduce that all. Apart from these code, whenever our extension runs, the VS Code extension will be activated. Technically, we don't need to define when our extension should be activated. It is by default. So as you can see, we have been given that on authentication request, when you call out this function, the activation events will be triggered. It means activation will be started. But if you go to the code, for example, any like on language, if you have, and you will be given a note that beginning with VS Code 1.74 version, languages contributed by your extension do not require a corresponding on language activation, as like it automatically gets activated. You don't need to define these things. So in general, your activation events are by default activated, not in every case, but in most cases. For example, this note will be given in most of them. For example, here also on command we have not in on debug, uh, but other things like here we have on view, and then on custom editor also we have the same line, like custom editors contributed by extension do not require corresponding activation event declaration for extension to be activated. So it gets triggered by default. So activation events, you understood the way, like it is the events upon which your activation gets triggered, and by default in most cases it gets automatically activated. Next is we have the contribution points. Contribution points play major role in the the package.json file of your extension. For example, we have this extension. This extension I created for you guys. I was just testing out a random extension just to know how it works, and I created this. I'll explain it to you today only. In this, if you go to the package.json file, you'll be finding the contribute section. This is where the most of the important stuff or the triggering events gets activated. For example, we have view containers and activity bar. It can be this activity bar will be used to show your VS Code extension. In this activity bar, you can provide the ID, title, and the icon. This icon will be placed here. So I had one icon, so it can be used. Yeah, this one. This was I'm creating this. This is for my project. I'll explain you what my project is, not now, but in future videos. And apart from that, you can use this. Where is package store? Yeah, this activity bar. You can add the icon for it. This was a part of which we were discussing, the contribution points, and after that we have another sections also. Inside this we have like views. This is also used for this only, to view the a- icons for it. And the commands, this command is given to trigger your VS Code extension. And I'll show you how it works, but let's understand the basics first. So the contribution points, you understood. The major contribution point is, like, let's understand what it is. The static declarations that you make in the package.json, which I told you right now, to extend the VS Code major working, which happens in the package.json. Let's go to the VS Code APIs. These are the APIs which we use here, like in the extension. For example, we called out VS Code dot Windows dot show error message, or something like workspace folders. In order to create any folder, we can use these things. I'll show you how we have created this. And after that, if we go to the docs of this VS Code API, we have multiple things. You can go through the entire code um, step by step. If you're building something, it might help you a lot in understanding what the potentials of any VS Code extensions are. And that was it, like for this part. And I want to give you a most, like, one of the most important thing that you should understand in while developing any application, not just an extension, but any app or a website or something. You don't have to learn every code which is provided to you. You should just know the possibilities, the capabilities, and the limitations of the technologies that you're using, and you'll be good enough. Like, then you can find your way through it. And that is what most companies and most uh, high end developers do, and what most companies require. You don't need to learn these. I have built, like, the product which I'm building, it is almost complete, right? I can show, no, let's not show you today. I'll show you in some next video. But I don't remember each and every code. I'll be honest with you. I don't remember, like, if someone calls me and asks me, like, just write me this, how do you show your information message, I would not remember this until unless I go to the documentation and understand where it is, like. But the main concern is to search where it should be and where it can be. And I can search it pretty fast, like, because I know what VS Code's extensions, potentials, capabilities, and limitations are. So that is the only thing you should know in order to build anything, because technologies are ever changing. You cannot learn everything. The only thing you can do is is to understand the concepts. That's it. So this was the main concern for today. And now let's understand the code which we have written. Um, just a minute. So this is the extension which we have. I'll explain you what it does actually, right? So this extension, what it does is, whenever you open up any file, or in any file, if you go and run any extension, what it will do is it will create another file in which all of these values will be copied and the letters will be capitalized. That's all it does. So if you want to run it, if you run it in the JSON config, this extension, if you run it in this JSON config, what it will do is it will copy all the contents of this file, create another file, and paste it it will make sure that all the letters are capitalized. That's all it does. So let's run it first, and then we'll understand how it works. So we have this extension, right? And we are running it in the debug console. So what is this debugging session? We In this debugging session we already have our extension included, and it is presented as a normal VS Code in which you can run your extension and check if it is working as per your uh, requirements, as per how you have created it. Let's understand it. So how we are going to run it? We'll be running it first. I'll show you and then we'll understand. So this is the npm extension which I have. If I clicked it, I'll be shown as changed file is generated successfully and manipulated file created at this. Let's go to the test file which is right now created, and since I was currently in the active tab of camp contract, the same name has been created with the text extension, and all the values are capitalized. That's all it does, right? It is not any useful extension, but the main reason for building this was to make you understand and practice myself. That's it. So this is what it does. Like currently I was into this. If I go to any other, for example this, and try to run my extension, same file will be created with all the contents, and the words will be capitalized. And changed file generated, manipulated file created. In the here you can see all the contents are same, just the letters are capitalized. That's it. That's all it does. Let's understand the code now. So this is the extension, and this is the package.json. So if you haven't watched my previous video, there was one important section in which I told that in any extension code, the extension.js or ts and the package.json are the two most important section where everything happens. For example, in this code, everything is currently working. So let's start understanding how it works. First, we have imported all the files, right? Like VS Code, path, fs to generate this file which we were working on, and the OpenAI. No, this is not required right now. I was building my product, that's why it has been currently. All right. So after that, we have an activate function. What it does is what we were previously working on. Like just a minute. Yeah, this one. The activation events happens when this activity function gets initialized. Activate function, right? So when this activate function gets initialized, this activity event gets started. So you'll be greeted with congratulations, your extension is now active. After that, this disposable function is used to dispose when the like activities get completed. I have explained this part, the basic structure of an extension, in my previous video. You can go and watch it. I'll explain the working of the extension today. Now we have a function which will run when we register test.hello-world. So this test.hello-world is coming from package.json, like not coming from, but the main declaration is happening there. So this test.hello-world, the main is written here only in the commands of package.json. Whatever command you put in, that will be used to run your extension. That's it. So command was test.hello-world, and how we are going to run it? By the title, and the title was npm extension, and this will be present in the command palette. Who told it to be present in command palette? This register command. I've explained all of these in my previous video, and today we are only understanding the code. So first what we did was we called out the window show active text editor. For example, we were present in one of the files which had to be capitalized, in whose content had to be capitalized. If no active editor is present, then it will return that an error message that no active editor found. That's it, and it will be returned. Next, what it does is it has a document, and like the document will be having the contents of the texts, like the editor which we have. For example, if we were present in this, then the document would have been like would be having an object which contains the texts of this file. That's it. So next would be the original text which we are going to create, like which we are going to get. Document contains an object, a function which is get text, and will get all the text which are present in the file. And now we have to manipulate it. The function is simple, like just convert into uppercase and save it in the manipulated text variable. And now we have to find the folder where we have to create one. If it is present, then all good. If not, we will create it through the code base. So first we'll find the workspace folder, and this is the code through which you can find the workspace folder. The main the path of the workspace folder you can find. And if there is no workspace folder, we'll like present it with an error message that no workspace folder is found. And now we'll create an output folder which will be path.json join workspace folder. This is the what we got previously, the path, and we'll name it test, which was created every time. So I think let's run it first and understand till here, like which I was showing you previously. And this was the code. Sorry. Yeah. So this was the code, and this is a debug session, right? And if I'm currently present here, like the editor is currently active, right? For example, I opened up this, and what happens is when I run the command palette here, npm extension, file generated, and the file name was test, and this is update token. The same name will be created here with the words and the letters as capitalized. So we got the workspace folder to create it here, and we created a folder named test. I hope I'm clear up until now. Now what we are going to do is we are going to check whether the output folder which we wanted to create is already present or not. If not, we'll create it. mkdir sync output folder and recursive. This creates, like this recursive equals true allows us to create if it is not present, and if it is present, it will directly save the file created files here only, right? So that's what it does. And after that, we'll name the file of what we are going to create, and the file name will be the document file name which we have taken. For example, currently we edited updated token man, and the same name was added here, the first name. And after that, we'll be having the extra, like the last name will be the document.file name plus the underscore manipulated text, like this .txt. And the output path where it has to be stored will be path.join. Will join the like the path of this output folder where this test file is, and then we'll give the file which we have to store it, which is the file name. So that's how the output path will be created. And when it is being created, we'll like after being created, we'll call out an information message as manipulated file created at output path, which we have currently. And fs.write file sync means we are writing all the contents into the file which we have created. And what contents we are writing? The manipulated text, all the uppercase letters which we have created right now. And when it is successful, we'll show an information message which is changed file is generated successfully. That's all. And after that, we'll call out the disposable, like unmount basically. Not here, but the deactivate will cause an unmount kind of situation. So this was the basic structure of the extension which we have we have understood today. And my main concern was to understand the code of how extension works, what are its capabilities, how we can use it in our um, code, and what are the potentials through which I can write any code. And I hope you found this video informative. And if you do, make sure to like and subscribe, and comment down your thoughts also, and let me know what extension you are building, because our main concern is not to build any tutorial kind of videos, but more of a real world project. And I'm building so as to explain you what I'm learning. It's not completely like I know everything. No, I don't. I'm still learning, and I'm explaining things in the process. So I hope you liked the video, and yeah, thank you. Follow for more.